Welcome to Swim University, your online guide to pool and hot tub care. I'm your host, Matt Giovanisci, and on this show, we talk to James Robyn of BioNova Natural Swimming Pools. His company is building natural swimming pools across the nation that don't require any traditional chemicals. Pretty cool, huh? For more information and videos on swimming pool and hot tub care, visit our website, swimuniversity.com. You can follow me on Twitter at SwimUniversity, and you can ask us questions on Facebook about your pool or hot tub at facebook.com/SwimUniversity. On the phone today, we have James Robyn from BioNova Natural Pools. James, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you, Matt.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and what your company does.
All right. Well, BioNova Natural Pools here in North America, we license the technology from Europe of the natural swimming pool. Natural swimming pools got their start in Europe about 25 years ago, almost 30 years ago now. And the natural swimming pool is really defined as being a constructed swimming pond, would be the best way to describe it. The water in the natural swimming pool is contained, just like it is in a traditional chemical pool, as we now call regular pools. In other words, we're not relying on any springs or stream feed or anything like that. The water is contained and recirculated, just like it is in a regular swimming pool. Additionally, the definition of the natural swimming pool is that we don't add any chemicals to the water at all. The water is being treated purely biologically as a result of the microbes that live in the water and plants that live in the water that we plant in a specially constructed regeneration zone. The plants are removing nutrient from the water, and it's the uptake of nutrient out of the water that is the beginning of the natural cleaning cycle. Mankind evolved on this planet drinking water from freshwater ponds and streams, and that's because Mother Nature inherently clarifies water so that it's safe for us to drink. We're not submitting that you should drink the water in natural swimming pools, but we're saying that it is perfectly safe to bathe in. And it's the natural biological cycle of plants growing in water and microbes, specifically zooplankton and phytoplankton, living in the water that do the clarifying and purifying of the water that make it safe as a swimming vessel. So we're containing the water. We're treating it biologically with plants and with microbes living in the water, which is a natural process. We separate the swimming zone from the planted zone so that swimmers, although they can see the plants generally, do not actually encounter the plants, so we're not disturbing them. And we're not adding any chemicals or using any devices to sterilize bacteria or kill anything. So we're not using any ozone. We don't use ions. We don't use ultraviolet light. None of those things. No devices to disinfect or sterilize water are permitted under the German rules for natural swimming pools. And these German rules are called the FLL standards. FLL being the organization that writes the standards, the rules for natural swimming pools in Germany. Most of the EU countries have adopted the German FLL standards. And here in North America, in the U.S. and Canada, we are promoting the FLL standards as a vehicle for which states in the U.S. and provinces in Canada, their health departments could use as a basis for writing our own regulations here in North America for the NSP, for the natural swimming pool.
Right. Now, let me get this straight. So this, you call it a regeneration zone? Now that's basically your filter. So there's no filter and there's no pump in a natural pool, or am I wrong?
You're wrong.
Okay.
There is a filter. Well, first of all, the big filter is the regeneration zone.
Okay.
It is functionally a filter, and in addition we use a tank, a filter tank that we call a fine filter on our BioNova systems, and the BioNova fine filter is a sediment filter, so it's helping to take out large particulate matter from the water. We move the water from the swimming zone into the fine filter, and then from the fine filter into the regeneration zone. And we use a pump. We use a pump to do that. So our systems are it's moving water.
Right. Now these are traditional, like swimming pool pumps. And when you use the filter, is it a sand filter, a DE filter, a cartridge, or is it neither of these?
It's none of the above.
Okay.
We really can't use that kind of a filter on an NSP because these filter to a sand DE or cartridge filter clean to too small of a particle size.
Oh, I see.
They will actually take things out of the water that we need in the water. We use our fine filter is based on a geotextile as the filtration medium. So it's a different implementation.
So what you're doing is you're only trying to get out the big particles, the like leaves and things of that nature. So does that mean you have skimmer baskets and those kinds of things, return jets?
Yes, we do. We have skimmers. They're a different kind of a skimmer. We call them lily pad skimmers. They're a floating skimmer. If somebody's been in the pool industry long enough, they might remember the old lily pad skimmers that were used on pools back prior to the 1960s. And they're similar to that, only they're much larger. Our skimmers actually have a circumference of 1 meter, which is 39.7 inches. So they're quite large, mm-hmm. And they'll also adjust to different water levels. They have a range of about almost 12 inches that they can travel. So the water level in the regeneration zone or in the swimming pool could be 6 inches higher or 6 inches lower, depending on the size of the system. And some of our natural swimming pool systems are quite large. We have them in public pools in Europe. Some of these public pools will have in excess of 5,000 bathers per day in the natural swimming pool, and the biological system provides filtration that meets the water quality standards for microbiological safety. And we're just now introducing the concept here in North America. We've just received a contract to do a natural swimming pool for the city of Minneapolis in Minnesota at a place called Weber Park. And it'll be a large natural swimming pool using our BioNova technology. And we're also in the process of working on responding to a request from the city of Edmonton in Alberta, Canada, for a natural swimming pool there at a place called Borden Park. So we're just starting here in North America in the public venue and in the residential venue, but it's starting to catch on, starting to be understood.
So a lot of people are starting to build them in their own backyards. They're starting to. I didn't realize that there were public pools. This rejuvenation zone? What's it called? Renovation zone? What are they called again?
Regeneration zone.
Regeneration zone. So the regeneration zones on these public pools. I mean, how big does a regeneration zone have to be on a regular size, 16 by 32 in-ground?
Okay, well, that's two different questions. One is for the the old the venerable 16 by 32 in-ground pool residential. We would build a regeneration zone of about 500 square feet, approximately the same size as the swimming zone.
Oh,
in a residential. In a public pool, the rules, the FLL standards have a set of calculations to determine what the size of the regeneration zone should be, as a function of a number of different variables, but one of the most important ones is the expected bather load. So we size our regeneration zone on a public pool based on the specifics of that pool as to how many people we're going to have in it, what the size of the swimming zone will be, what the relative elevations are between the two, and what our freshwater input is going to be. There's a number of different variables there, but it's a calculation that we do. In general, it turns out to be it's going to be somewhere between 30 and 50% of the size of the swimming vessel.
Wow. So you need a lot of space if you're going to build a big in-ground pool. You're going to need a lot of space if you're going to want to do a natural swimming pool.
That's correct. Yeah. Just in general, they take up about twice as much room.
But they're not as deep, I imagine.
Well, the swimming vessel can be as deep. Some of our public pools we have to a depth of 4 meters, which is 13 feet.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I was just visiting one 2 weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago, in Switzerland, and it was 13 feet depth, 13 feet deep, depth of 4 meters, with a high dive and a big climbing wall, and you can see right to the bottom of 13 feet in the NSB.
Huh. So how is this the natural pool not filled with algae constantly?
Basically, the plants will outcompete for the nutrient in the water, and that starves out the algae.
Okay.
So when you do these correctly, and you know how we do this is part of our intellectual property, is to how we do it and how we control it and how we move the water and how we construct the regeneration zone and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
But when that's done correctly, the algae will be limited to very small amounts. There still is algae in an NSP, but it won't be objectionable amounts, and in the swimming zone. And it's the nutrient control that's really the key to it.
So, is it safe to swim in a pool that has all these microorganisms in it?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Just like you'd swim in a pond or a stream or the ocean. Water on this planet is teeming with life, and that's a natural state of it to exist. The chemical pool is really the aberrant system, where what we do with a chemical pool is we try to kill everything in the water, except the swimmer, hopefully. And in the natural swimming pool, what we're doing is we're not doing that. We're allowing for natural microbes to live in the water, and they are self-limiting and self-controlling, and also providing the clarification and purification of the water.
Is a natural swimming pool? I know you said you don't have to add any chemicals to it, but do you still have to control the pH balance of this pool?
We monitor the pH in the natural swimming pool because it's an indicator of the health of the system.
Uh-huh.
But we don't control it, so we're not adding chemicals to do anything to it. And generally, in a natural pool, the pH is going to be between 7.8 and 8.4.
Okay, so it's a little higher than a traditional pool.
It's a little higher than a traditional pool. The water has a little bit of more of an alkali feel to it. It's a little softer.
Mm-hmm.
And when the plants are actively working and photosynthesis is ongoing, the pH of the water tends to climb. And when they shut down at night, the pH of the water tends to drop. I noticed you had worked in a pool store for many years, and as a matter of fact, my wife and I own a traditional chemical pool company by the name of Rin Robyn Pools. We've been here in New Jersey. My father started it in 1958, and you would know from working in a pool store that when you get a customer walk in with a high pH, they probably have algae growing in that water,
right?
Which is fine.
Right, or the pool's cloudy or something, yeah.
Yep. Same thing in the NSP.
Okay. So when the pH is at a higher level, there's more algae in the water.
No, it means there's photosynthesis ongoing. It means the plants are working.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. Interesting. Now, is it more expensive to put in? I imagine it is. Is it expensive to put in a natural swimming pool over a traditional swimming pool?
Yes, it is. It costs about the same per square foot to build a natural swimming pool as it does to build a traditional chemical pool.
Mm-hmm.
But because the natural swimming pool is larger, they're going to cost more. However, you can also look at the fact that you're getting a swimming pool and you're getting a water garden. Right.
And you're not spending money on chemicals every year.
That's correct. And also our flow rates are much less. We use gravity a lot to move water between the swimming zone and the regeneration zone. And our flow requirements are a lot less. We also don't use pressure vessels for our filters. Our filter is open to atmosphere. We actually bubble air through it because we're looking for aeration.
Mm-hmm.
So our pumps are much more use a lot less energy than what you do on a traditional chemical pool.
They're not pumping at full speed constantly. They're using it's almost like a small stream.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So it saves you money on electric, I imagine, like huge.
Yes, that's correct. That's one of the appeals actually to the public pool, because the energy consumption and the chemical consumption is dramatically less.
Right.
I did an analysis. We did an analysis for space in Huntsville, Alabama, the U.S. Space and Rocket Center,
Mm-hmm.
and they're spending, I think it was about $75,000 a year on chemicals to disinfect or try to just keep the water clarity decent in this large pond or pool that they have. And they had a decent payback on converting it to a natural swimming pool, so they're looking at doing that.
So, is there anything that it's more expensive because it's a bigger unit, but I mean, like you said, overall, throughout the year, you actually save money on chemicals. You're not spending as much money on electric. Can you still heat the pool with a gas heater?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
And the other thing, in addition to just the is these pools are far more sustainable for this planet. It's not just the direct expense of the chemicals that you put in the pool, but you have to consider, these chemicals all had to be mined in mining operations. They have to be then transported to a factory. They have to be processed at the factory, and it's not just chlorine; it's algicide and pH increaser and pH decreaser and total alkalinity increasing chemicals and calcium hardness increasing chemicals and stain removing chemicals, and all of the vast chemical arsenal that we use in chemical pools. They all have to be processed by a factory, which is very energy consuming. They have to be packaged into materials that have to be manufactured to package them and then transport them to distributors, and then they have to be brought to retail stores or however they're brought to the public, and then they have to be brought home to somebody's swimming pool where they're dissolved in the water.
Right.
It's a huge amount of energy, and that increases the carbon footprint of the swimming pool dramatically, whereas the natural swimming pool doesn't have any of those things. It's a far greener, every pun intended, but it's a far greener, more sustainable, lower carbon footprint. One of the things that we see globally is a lot of the places that have interest in natural swimming pools are places that have low availability of infrastructure. For example, there's an island off the coast of Africa by the name of Mauritius. And there, the natural swimming pool has done very well. We have one installation there at a condominium complex. And it's gorgeous. So you can find links to it on our website, BioNovaNaturalPools.com. At any rate, the condominium complex there has the condos. They all have their own little tiny natural swimming pool. And then there's a common natural swimming pool that everybody can use. That's right on the outside of the complex. Inside the complex, in the center of the complex, is the regeneration zone, which is a water garden for everyone. And then there's also an outlying regeneration zone adjacent to the public pool. But a place like this, an island out in the middle of the Indian Ocean, has very little resource. And, they don't have a lot of power. They don't have the ability to bring in all these chemicals and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a popular implementation.
Now, do you still use an automatic pool cleaner? Are you still cleaning the pool, skimming it? I guess you're doing all that stuff, right?
You absolutely can if you want to. Some natural swimming pool owners don't want that. They're perfectly happy to have the pool be more like a pond. And it depends a lot on the design too, because the design on these is just, you can do all sorts of things. Not only you're designing a swimming pool, but you're also designing this water garden, this regeneration zone.
Right.
So you can build these to look like they're absolutely a natural pond, or you can make them look very architectural and have them be immaculately clean. And if you're doing that, yes, then we use a robot. We use an automatic pool cleaning system to do it.
Just a simple automatic pool cleaning system that you would get for a traditional pool?
No, we have our own.
Okay.
We need a little higher ground clearance on these because we have more natural swimming pools, just by their very operation, produce sediment on a regular basis.
Right.
And that sediment is what we need to pick off the floor of the swimming zone with a robot. So we have a specially designed one that's different than what they are for chemical pools.
Now, what is a natural swimming pool made with? It's a concrete gunite. I guess it's not vinyl, right?
Well, that's a great question, Matt. Because these started in Europe, they don't build pools the same way we do here. Using gunite to build a swimming pool in Europe is pretty much unheard of. They have gunite in Europe, they just don't use it to build swimming pools. Generally in Europe, the pools are built with cement block, and then put steel reinforcement in it and pour it solid, just like you would a foundation on a house here. Mm-hmm. And then they use a special membrane made out of PVC or polyethylene or flexible polyolefin. There's a number of different implementations. And you'll find on our website in our most recent newsletter, the June 2012, we talk about the different types of liners that are used for natural swimming pools. But the point I want to make is in Europe, they use these same liners for traditional chemical pools. They don't use plaster finishes on the inside of pools, on the larger ones. Residential pools in Europe are either vinyl liner, fiberglass is probably the biggest, because in Europe the yards are small, and cement block, as I said, with PVC membrane is used commonly. Stainless steel is also used. In Australia, they build pools the same way we do here, with shotcrete or gunite and vinyl liner pools also, although they're not as prevalent in Australia. So when the NSP moved to Australia, the very first ones were built using gunite or shotcrete. The first ones that we're doing here are gunite, shotcrete. Although in Canada, the very first ones that we've done have been with cement block and PVC membrane. The Canadians follow more of a European tradition than what we do here in the U.S. So the answer is you can build these out of pretty much anything. Stainless steel works, fiberglass works, obviously cement block with PVC membrane works, gunite, shotcrete works. The water doesn't really care what's containing it, and the plants don't really care what's holding the water in the pool. Mm-hmm. So pretty much any kind of an implementation will work.
So with that said, can you convert any traditional pool into a natural swimming pool?
Sure, yeah. What you need to do is build a regeneration zone someplace or in, around, or next to, or nearby the traditional chemical pool, and then modify the plumbing so that the water goes from the pool into the BioNova fine filter, then into the regeneration zone, and then pump it back up into the pool.
How far away does the regeneration zone need to be?
It doesn't. There's no dimension. It just it's a function of pipe size and pump size.
Okay. So it can be quite a distance.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Now, the one question I have is, now, here in the Northeast, we close our swimming pools. We open our swimming pools every, spring, summer. I guess you still do that with a natural swimming pool, but how does that work? Do you close both the regeneration zone and the pool, or just the pool?
Well, you need to winterize the pipes, the plumbing. Drain the pump, drain the filter, just like you do on a traditional chemical pool. Make sure your pipes are protected properly. Mm-hmm. Regeneration zone, the plants need to be cut back, just like you would cut back a terrestrial garden in the fall, so that the following spring, they have lots of room to grow. That's pretty much it.
So you said you have to cut back the plants. Do you have to do that throughout the season? Is that part of the maintenance?
Sure. Yep. There's water gardening involved. You need to, any dead material on the plants you want to cut back. If one plant isn't doing so well, you want to maybe remove it. If you have some undesirable plants growing in the regeneration zone, you'll need to remove them. That's a euphemism for weeding. Mm-hmm. These plants are rooted in gravel, so you don't really get a lot of problems with weeds. But it's just regular aquatic garden maintenance as you would a decorative pond.
Right. So a regeneration zone is basically and now if I'm visualizing this correctly, it's a shallow concrete basin that's filled with gravel and plants, and water is kind of pumped in through the bottom of the gravel and is pulled up and then back out?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I have that visualization correct. So that's, I mean, this is interesting. Do you see this thing like, do you see more and more are you seeing natural pools grow more and more? Like people are starting to, find out about them and starting to purchase them, and rather than a traditional pool?
Yes. Yeah. We're seeing more and more interest in them. That's for sure. The concept is here. It's new here to North America. I introduced it here to North America in 2008. My wife and I have been interested in doing natural pools for many years. And as I said before, we own and operate a traditional chemical pool company. We have 2 retail stores, so we sell pool chemicals and all those things, and have been doing that for many years. And we were designing and building more natural-looking swimming pools, and I became interested in trying to get them away from chlorine. As you know from having worked in a pool store, if you tell customers coming in the store that they don't need chlorine, they love that. They'll try anything. Nobody likes chlorine. I mean, look at the success of Baquicil, of the biguanide chemical. We sold that for many years back, starting in the 1980s. Mm-hmm. And people loved it at first because they don't like chlorine. Now, it has its own problems that mean that it really didn't, become a mainstay. But people don't like chlorine. They would prefer to get away from chlorine if possible. Chlorine is classified by the World Health Organization as a possible carcinogen. Chlorine's been linked with asthma. It's been linked to citric acids have been linked to problems with kidneys, I believe. I mean, there's just a whole host of reasons that people don't like chlorine. So I started looking at natural, more different ways of getting away from chlorine, and we built some pools using ozone, and we tried ultraviolet and copper silver ions, and a number of different implementations. And I also have a brother-in-law who works for the state of New Jersey Department of Transportation. And he's been doing what they call wetlands mitigation. And wetlands is when the DOT has to build a road through a swamp. Mm-hmm. They have to build a swamp someplace else in order to mitigate, correct for, compensate for the loss of the wetland that got filled in. And I used to tease him that he built swamps and I built pools. But I became interested in the construction of the constructed wetland, the technology of it, and also in the kind of water quality that it produced. So it was interesting. And then I learned about how in Europe they were doing constructed wetland for wastewater treatment, municipal sewage treatment. And they were also doing some of that has been done also out west. I started to research on the internet, maybe using constructed wetland technology to filter, clarify, purify swimming pool water, and I found they've been doing it in Europe for 25 years. So I have my wife graduated from high school in Frankfurt, Germany. So she lived in Germany for a couple of years and liked Germany a lot. We've been to Germany a couple of times over the years. I actually have an MBA in international management with a concentration in German, which I didn't use for many years, but it wasn't difficult at all to say to my wife, hey, why don't we go to Germany and find out about these natural swimming pools? So we went first in the spring of '07, and then we went back in the fall of '07 to a trade show in Cologne, Germany, and we looked at all the different natural swimming pool systems on the market in Europe, decided we had the best relationship and liked the technology and the people the best at BioNova. And they invited us to a week-long training program in Bad Bleiberg, Austria in January and February of '08. And we went there. We met with BioNova partners from all over the world, from South Africa, from Australia, Turkey, Lebanon, England, France, Spain, etc., Germany, Austria, Italy. And it was a week-long training program. It was just fascinating to see the depth of the knowledge that they had accumulated over the years on natural swimming pools. And, I come from a background that's really deep in the pool business here in the U.S. So we negotiated with them and have a license now to market the BioNova technology in North America. So what we're doing here in North America is selling licenses to potential dealers, to people who are interested in becoming dealer partners for BioNova, to companies all over North America. And there are companies like my own regular pool company. We're looking for dealer partners who are already entrenched with selling pools or ponds, if they're pool builders or if they're high-end landscape contractors. And they're already entrenched with selling high-end landscape pool projects in residential backyards. Then we provide them with the ability to use our technology, use our marketing support, use our technical support to add this into their business and have the natural swimming pool be something that they can offer along with what they already do. And then we also do consulting to municipalities like the city of Minneapolis to do the design and construction of a natural swimming pool in public parks, as I said before. And then we also will contract with homeowners who are maybe in a place where we don't have a dealer partner and are interested in building a natural swimming pool. We will do the design and the technical drawings for them, and then we'll either build it ourselves from our people here based out of New Jersey. I also have a company that's kind of a gypsy who wanders all over and will build pretty much anywhere. Or we will try to recruit a dealer partner in the market where we have an NFC to build. So that's what the company is doing. So
how does someone find out about becoming a dealer?
Well, they could contact me directly. Just email us at partner@bionovanaturalpool.com, bionovanaturalpools.com. And we have, we talk with them about what we do and what's involved.
And then what happens if a residential customer wants to get a natural pool built? How do they contact you?
Generally on the web. I get quite a few leads every day. People interested in from all over actually. People interested in having a natural swimming pool installed in the yard or in converting a chemical pool that they have into a natural swimming pool. And we reach out to every one of them. I have a couple of people on staff who just spend all of their time getting back to people and disseminating the information as to what they need.
So the website is BioNovaNaturalPools.com.
Yes, BioNovaNaturalPools.com.
And are you guys anywhere else on the internet that we would like to know about?
No, you can get, that's the spot to go, BioNovaNaturalPools.com.
All right, excellent. Well, James, thank you so much for talking with us today. Natural swimming pools are extremely interesting. I see them really taking off in the coming years, and I wish you the best on that. Absolutely.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, thanks so much. I'll see you soon.
Okay. Take care.
Thanks again to James Robyn of BioNova Natural Swimming Pools. If you are interested in becoming a dealer or looking to get your very own natural swimming pool, new or converted, you can contact James at his website. It's www.bionovanaturalpools.com. If you would like to be featured on the show, please email me, info@swimuniversity.com. And don't forget to visit our website, swimuniversity.com. As always, happy swimming.